Okay, so today I gotta clean up this area of the shop, and then I gotta start framing it with 2x6s and then put up the rest of my booth. I also gotta clean all the dirt and dust off the ground, that way it's not getting in my paint, and I'll be hosing it off and then mopping it after. So I'll probably throw y'all on a time lapse just to show the progress. Could tell, but that floor was insanely dirty. So I was able to mop it. I'm sure it was out of frame a lot, but I got the entire floor mopped once. I'm gonna go ahead and let it dry, and then I'm gonna mop it with clean water and try to get everything. I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but that water is literally straight dark brown. So yeah, it's pretty dirty, but it's getting there. So the actual booth itself is going to start at that corner over here. It's going to go 16 foot over, so like midway through that door, and then it's going to go 22 feet deep, so probably to that like bumper over there, that pallet rack, and then the doors are going to swing open that way, both of them, so I'll be able to pull my car all the way around, stop here, and then on the sides of the booth and on the top and on the back side there's going to be lights, and then we're going to have 4 fans with positive airflow heading this way through filters and then out with filters out of those 2 doors. So I mean, it's not a $10,000 booth, but it should be pretty good for what we have. I'm gonna go cut some boards. I gotta cut 2x6s for across the booth, and then I'll probably come back and start framing it. So see y'all shortly, and then that'll also be on a time lapse probably. yesterday we pretty much finished up a majority of the booth, got all the plastic up, all the walls up, front doors, and then the front little panels. And then we started working on the air box. So this is pretty much what we came up for that. And then I'll show you where it goes and how it installs. These are the install points on the studs. It's 5.5 inches. So we'll just staple those in and then box it and then direct the flow. The one problem that we would have is that this could actually draw air from inside the booth and vapor it, or the vapors, and we don't want to blow up. So I'm gonna create a plywood rectangle that cuts off airflow. So the only thing that it can draw from is these side panels where the air filters are, and not from the bottom of the booth. Hey y'all, so I figured I'd do a quick update on the air box. So we ended up changing the design from, instead of mounting it to the roof by these brackets, we moved that down, and this is on a new bracket, and then the bottom is being supported right here, and those are screws that go in. So there's no possibility of air vapors, or it drawing air from the air vapors inside the paint booth. It has to come outside, and then that is filtered off by two 24-inch Filtrete like air conditioning filters, like right here. I actually added this 2x6 in to support it in the rafters, and then I blocked off the slot for the air filter itself. So these slide in just like this. They have little plywood channels that it goes in, and then it's stopped by another piece of plywood. So I can change these filters as I need to, and then install them finally when I go ahead and put up the rest of the booth. So that is all finished. We drilled a hole for the wires to stick out of, and it looks like this is pretty much done. The only thing left for us to do is to drop it in, install it, and then we have to make some way for the air to go down and then also channel into the booth. Time lapse. I have a bunch of these little 4 fluorescent light panels. Those are all wired up, and they're just mounted to the 2x6s on the side. So yeah, those actually give a lot of light off. Here's the door. I framed all this in yesterday. All this is all plastic in now. I still need to do panels on the door, but there's inside the booth. been about a day since I last recorded anything. I time-lapsed a little bit the day before yesterday, and I didn't really do much yesterday on the booth. I just did a couple things, and I started sanding the car down a little more, but I'll show you what I did do. I was able to get the vents all done, so it's fully filtered in here. And then, of course, the whole thing is sealed. I used spray foam on all the corners. I had a couple of open areas, but everything is completely sealed off now. Sorry for the bad light, but this is actually the air box that I was talking about. So the airflow comes straight down from that vent, straight down, and then it is redirected straight ahead into the booth. And I made it adjustable, so this can go up or down. And currently it's ghetto rigged, but that will be fixed soon. So yeah, it actually puts out plenty of airflow, and with all these lights, the booth is plenty bright. The only thing left to do really is I gotta do a handle here and a handle here, that way I can completely lock myself in the booth and it's fully sealed. But other than that, I don't have any sealing issues with the booth. It's pretty sealed in there. I've got to do one final cleaning, and then the booth will be ready to go for primer. Sorry, I have a cold, but I realized I never really properly concluded the video. So the booth was finished. I ended up sanding the car down a whole lot, got it in primer, sanded more primer, and then I did a couple of modifications to the booth just to make it more efficient. I had a couple issues with the booth, one being the filters got very clogged up when I was spraying anything heavy like the epoxy primer, high build primer, or the actual final color. So I really need to figure out something different for that filter. I don't really know what to use, but I think that AC stuff, it's just one fine filter and just air particles. It does keep it from backing off back into the booth. But they actually got clogged up midway through spraying color on the car, which I'm sure brought dust and particles into the paint that I didn't want there. Other than that, I had very, very little dust and very little particles in the paint. The only reason that I'm sure I'll have a couple more videos later on showing the painting of the car, because I have a little bit of footage even though it's bad, and then the process of before and after on the car and everything that has changed exterior wise. So other than that, the booth turned out really good. If you want to do this at your home or in a shop, I would highly recommend it. The plans are very basic that I posted in the video. We kind of just winged it. My dad's in construction. I've worked for him for many years, so we can frame stuff without having to have a very detailed set of plans. And you can do it a lot cheaper than this. We did 2x6 because we had extra 2x6s there. I mean, if I were to do it and I were to go buy materials, I would have done 2x4s. The LEDs were given to us as well, so those would have been really expensive. Those were free. And then the squirrel cage to run the airflow, that was free as well. So, and the plastic was left over. So I was really into this for maybe $100, just in some materials we had to go to Lowe's for. But that's really it. I mean, if you were gonna do this yourself, you would probably be in it between $500 and $800. And then, I mean, you can always do stuff better. 2 squirrel cages would have been better. You could have had to have a cross flow, or the squirrel cage, instead of being mounted above the rafters, you could have put it at the edge of the rafters and then just blown straight across. That might have been a little better. This was kind of quickly thrown together. It was what we had, and it worked out really well. I will say that we probably could have designed it a little better just in the airflow criteria, but everything else was perfect. It was kind of a quick project. I needed to get the car sprayed. At this point, I only had a month left till school began, so I was kind of in a rush. And I think we had total 20 man hours into the project. So it's really not that bad. I wish I had this camera to record the process, but I'm sure it turned out all right. Please leave some comments in the bottom if you have any constructive criticism, hey, do this next time, or you suck. Just leave it. I'd rather know than waste my time making crappy videos.
So thanks y'all. Subscribe if you like the content. I'll be bringing some more stuff hopefully. Thank you.